And we are live, Wrestle Purist live, hosted by myself and Joe Hulbert, and we are also joined on a rare Friday appearance by Ibu of Wrestle Purist, better known to some of you guys as Backup Hangman. Got a few things to get into today, including a Survivor Series preview and a look ahead to the weekend, plus a few more other things. But first things first, please like, subscribe, send any super chats with any questions, any takes, anything like that. Turn on the post notifications. Hope everyone's doing well. Starting with my fellow co-host, Joe Hulbert. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much, mate. Happy to be here on a Friday once again. Little mini worldwide business going on here with Ibu joining us. So, yeah, pretty fired up. Got some wrestling to preview. Big Saturday is crazy. Especially myself, not watching either show live. I'm just going to have like a 6-hour block awaiting me on Sunday morning. So
Yeah.
That does not sound fun. I can't lie.
I think it'll be okay. I definitely will watch it or not skip anything. So I'm looking forward to that over the weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely a loaded Saturday, as you said. Ibu, joining us on this Friday. How's it going?
It's going. Thanksgiving was all right. I sprained my ankle.
We saw the masses saw.
That was so funny, bro. For real.
You know, I the young ones were talking shit and calling me old and stuff. I said, why don't we just take a walk? Why don't we just, there's a park 2 blocks. Let's just take a walk. Let me show you how we get this thing done. And tweaked my ankle, but hey, listen, I finished the game, hit him with some spin moves, some fakes, you know what I mean? Do what I had to do. The footage is all there on Twitter, folks. You know what I mean? I'm not lying. But besides that, I'm doing okay. Got work tonight, have some free time right now. Thought, hey, honestly, why don't I stop by? And so I appreciate you guys letting me on.
Even with the injury, it was still better footage than what Manny the Hooper uploaded those months back.
My favorite one was, there was one where you made a pretty nice move and scored, Ibu, and there was like a filter over it, like it was like it was like some sort of dramatic motion picture, which popped me.
And then there was one where I did the Hakeem fake, where like you pivot, put it up one way and go the other way, and you were like yelling, and someone said like he would do it a dream shake.
You did. I thought you came out of it pretty well, honestly. I mean, the ankle one was unfortunate, but overall, I think it was a W overall. So
a solid hoop mixtape. There's one where I drove right, spun around, and did a jump. Man, I still got something in the tank. Yeah,
a little something.
A little something to say.
Mighty King calls us the Wrestle Purist free. And this one pops me because it's almost spiteful. Monty Suji, Joey Shota, and back up his Ren.
Come on. That's like racist. Like that.
Wait a minute.
I don't know. It's just...
Ren Narita, bro. That's you. Be proud of it. Karan 200 rupees. Appreciate you as always. Don't get the Jay White hype. The booking for him was bad, but he had TV time to cut promos, and he used to say "bang bang gang, guns up, breathe with the switchblade" repeatedly. Uninspiring. Well, he did use a lot of catchphrases during that feud, but it's something I've emphasised a few times, and I'm sure those of you who watch these shows regularly are probably bored of me saying it now, but the style of promo segments that Jay White was inserted into so far in AEW haven't really been what he shines in, particularly. I don't think that excuses some of the very valid criticisms that people have thrown his way, because he has had TV time and some of it has been, as they say, is uninspired. But Jay White's great, man. Jay White is great. I just don't think he's really been, even being put in a world title feud with TV time, it wasn't necessarily the right scenario for him to showcase what he can really do. He's still been pretty good though. I don't think he's been a complete failure in AEW. But I think time will tell with him. I think there's a lot of talent there.
He's always been, I mean, for as long as I can remember, he's always been somewhat polarizing as a top guy. I know, you and I have been very high on him for as long as we've been talking to each other. Ibu, you've been the other side of that argument. I don't mean that in like a bad way. It's just beauty in the eye of the beholder, right? Like everyone sees something different in every talent. What I would say is, and I say this as a Jay fan, he is someone who needs the booking to assist him, which is not a criticism. It's the reality is some guys don't have Yeah, but what I mean, this is important seriously. It's like some guys have such unique intangibles. No matter what you do with them, they will connect at a certain level. Whereas Jay, I think, is with the majority of talent, which to your point, Monty, is the point of creative is supposed to assist the talent, is I do think he needs some of the benefits of the booking he received. I mean, the New Japan booking he received was sustained and prolonged. That was an effort and a commitment, which is how wrestling generally works. So I definitely think he's someone who may not jump off the page the way, for example, if you're looking at a Swerve may jump off the page more, right? And may kind of have more intangibles. But I think if you give him a real push, you give him something to sink his teeth into, I think Jay White will generally make your investment worthwhile. I think he's proven that. So time will tell if AEW does that. I think he's going to kind of slot in like the role below that, honestly. But it's interesting. I mean, he's been kind of polarizing for as long as I can recall. So I get it.
Darren Walker, £2 appreciated. Do you guys see Ronda debut in Ring of Honor last night?
I did not.
Yeah, I saw what I needed to see, It was very similar to the indie match that they did, as people who were there reported as much. But yeah, man, they had a lot of fun out there, It was a good time, No complaints about it or anything. I wouldn't look too much into Ronda looks so motivated and happy in there now,
I saw
some of that feels a little forced, but it was a fun time.
I saw a guy go like, so this is what Ronda looks like without the handcuffs.
It's the same as the Edge thing, where a lot of people that are saying that didn't watch her matches before she left.
When it was like, you guys notice Edge's spear is better now? And it's like, okay.
Oh, God bless him. Yeah. DJ, £2 appreciated. Would Jay be better off had he signed with WWE?
Yeah, probably.
Probably, you have to say.
Probably.
I think as well with the level of AEW interest that they had in, like, that was in him as well. I think if WWE would have landed him, which I believe that they probably would have if it wasn't for the hiring freeze, to be completely honest with everyone. I think that would have made a real point of bringing him in, like a star. It would have been a. I wouldn't say definitely not on the level of Cody Rhodes, especially when you consider Vince is the person who brought him in the way that he did, not brought him in basically on a throne. But I do think Triple H, it would have been like one of his first like projects to bring in, and I think he would have wanted to make like a really strong impression with it to potentially, because at the time, potentially can help convince a Will Ospreay or convince some of these other international talents that want to get that they're reportedly interested in. So
they're also just so short on heels too. It was like they'd have to push Jay White,
Yes, I can tell you this. Like, there's so many guys that, like, there's so many guys where, like, you ask people in creative and they go, we haven't even been told to make creative plans. They were instructed to make plans for Jay White, like, going into WrestleMania. And he was absolutely, like, seen as a guy who was going to be, like, a main event heel for them. I would have, had he signed, right, he would have 100% main evented 2 pay-per-views. Now, would they have probably been, like, Fastlane and Payback? Yes. But, like, he would have main evented those, like, shows like that. I think, knowing that William Regal was as high as he was on him, he definitely would have been, a guy that thrown against Seth Rollins. He probably would have held the Seth belt by now, to be completely frank, or a Money in the Bank or something. They would have adjusted the plans. I think right now, as where we stand right now, he probably would be in the War Games main event, and that's kind of how that would have turned out. So
they're very different creative systems, and I think if you're a Jay White fan, I think the thing to be slightly concerned about with his AEW run is I don't know if he has the powerful, the voice in his corner in that kind of circle of powerful players in AEW. I think we all know enough about the way that promotion works now, how important that is, right? Like, there are like a handful of guys who control their creative, and if you can be in one of their kind of orbits, ideally, some of those talents are more preferable than others in that regard. It does make a huge difference because Tony is much more committee in that way, right? Like, Tony will delegate to his top guys. That's why you see things like, that's why Moxley's part of the show feels so different to Max's part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much less of an overarching vision than what Triple H and Regal are doing. Whether you prefer one or the other isn't really the point. But I think Jay would have probably benefited from the WWE side of things. And he's also a talent who he's like the most obvious Triple H would love this guy ever. Dude comes out in a leather jacket and works a limb. Like, it's like, it's like he sketched him from scratch. Yeah, he's deliberate, mean streak, all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. He'd be in the middle of a heat segment and Regal and Hunter would be stroking their chins like, oh, he just gets it. He just gets it.
Yeah, they'd love him. Dunmas $5, appreciate it. Actually, Jay White would have been better off in WWE wrestling than Miz. Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if he would be, doing too much with the Miz, but that's always the one people throw out there, isn't it?
Yeah, they do.
It's always the Miz, Poor Miz, he's going to prove everyone wrong tomorrow evening.
That's going to be good, and it's going to make me mad. I was really pissed off that their segment on Raw was good.
It was very good.
Oh, you saw
it was very good.
Yeah,
it was very good.
It pissed me off. when Gunther basically said, like, because Miz tried to frame himself as like, there's nothing wrong with being entertained. There's nothing wrong with looking up to the past legends of the IC title and all that shit. And Gunther's basically like, yeah, you're a fucking mark, like you're that's true.
Gunther is one of the most underrated promo guys in the business.
Yeah.
No one talks about that part of his game, but he could absolutely cut a great promo.
Yes.
He's tremendous.
He's doing like what the traditional WWE. Oh my God, he's so condescending. He's such a dickhead. He said you haven't been bullied enough, and show them.
I can't wait until he's the world's champion, man.
Absolutely.
Like, it's gonna be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He should be going into Mania as John Paul, I think.
Just do it tomorrow, bro.
Do some weird booking at the start of the show. Just
I have had enough.
Owens replaces Rollins in the fucking War Games match.
Oh my God. That's so weird.
All right. Will choose and $5, appreciate it as always. Why do these fans think Shinsuke Nakamura is calling out Okada?
It's because Dave said it.
Yeah. Basically, Dave reported that WWE interested in Okada. He didn't really.
I'm not even talking about that, Monty. During the Raw review, I was like, "Who the hell is Nakamura talking about?" And they went, "David is very dry. It's hard to tell if he's joking." Way he goes, Okada. He goes, Okada, and Brian's like, "No, but seriously, David." He's like, "Yeah, they want him. It might be Okada." And like, you can't tell if he's being facetious. You can't tell if he's just guessing. You can't tell if he's reporting. He's like, yeah, it just might be Okada that Nakamura's talking about. And Ryan's just like, all right, Dave. Super dry, super blankly. Like, that's just what he said.
You do a lot of impressions, but that Brian Alvarez one at the start really threw me off.
It was a corpse thing.
Walker, £2. Appreciate you as always. Ibu, did you enjoy Christian's anger on Dynamite? Let me tell you something. He's got some things to say.
All right, so here's the deal. Was I entertained by this? Yes. Christian Cage is very entertaining. But I thought that, like, logically and writing wise, this is like really bad, to be honest with you. I'll break it down as quick as I can. It has not been established in kayfabe on screen. Like, why does Christian have the hold on Nick Wayne that's so strong within a couple weeks that he is completely unfeeling towards his mother potentially being decapitated? Then there's also the performance aspect of the fact that Nick Wayne was like corpsing on screen while Christian was talking to him. Like, he kept having to like stop himself from laughing. Like, he was just like smirking and snickering. They teased a Luchasaurus turn randomly, and then like at the end of the segment, he's like protecting Christian again. There's the other aspect of it where Edge is a babyface, and yet he's about to he literally destroys like an 18-year-old kid in front of his mother, a kid who we as an audience are aware because of the storyline that he doesn't know any better and he's just being manipulated by a piece of shit. Then there's also the fact that Edge, when he had his pre-tape interview with Renee, he said basically like, I came to AEW for Christian. My daughters love him. They wanted to see me tag with Uncle Jay again. I have no interest in fighting him. I don't want to fight him. And I always wondered, like, man, that's a really great, realistic, and grounded promo. I wonder what's going to be the thing that pushes him over the edge to want to fight Christian. And what that ended up being was simply Christian was talking shit about, Sting and Ric Flair, and Sting told Edge to get his head out of his ass. And I mean, while that being a good pep talk, Christian didn't do anything to that.
Well, flag on the play.
What's up?
He did actually threaten to break his neck, and they tried to concerto him, which feels like a pretty big part of the story.
Was that before or after Edge joined Team Sting?
The segment where Edge joined the thing, he turned it around on them, but they were coming to the ring to try and break his neck.
Okay.
And also, they started teasing Luchasaurus babyface turn when Christian stole his TNT title.
That's a good catch. That's fair. See, look, I have no issue.
And also, the reason he did that to Nick Wayne, Adam Copeland did, is because he's going to that place. You know, the one where he drives his hands through his hair before he does a spear?
Right.
He's going to the dark side, Ibu.
He's going to the dark side. Right.
Yeah.
That's a good catch, Joe. Yeah. So it was just kind of jarring for me as a viewer that like Edge now is charging at Christian with murderous intent every week, and I'm like, what did Christian do to like make him change his mind this darkly? But I don't know. I'm entertained by this because like the performances are so good. They're so fun. Christian's like just a great time. But like I just thought like material wise, it was just really wacky. You know, so that's kind of like
I have to pull the curtain back on this. So Ibu explained this take to me before the show, and I thought, I think he's missed something there. And if it comes out on the air, I'll simply have this in my back pocket and will immediately respond to earn points with our core audience.
That rules.
I lined you up for that, man. I came through, lined you up 1-2, you know.
Yeah, step back.
Incredible officiating there.
Just looking at Monty's face as he saw what I was doing, and just
it's great. Joe,
you know what that is? It's payback for
what's up?
What stream was it, Joe? Penny Boo was just being a piece of shit.
The classic reveal. That was disgraceful.
Which one? Wait, what?
The one when you just inexplicably got sheepish on committing to your stance that Paul Levesque is the Booker of the Year. And Monty and I were like, "Do it, man! Take the leap. You can do it." You know,
I didn't want to. I didn't want to. You were like pushing me over the bridge. I'm like, "Wait, hold on!"
It was so funny.
Can Survivor Series fucking happen before? You know what I mean? Like, Jesus.
You was like, "Well, I'm not sure." And Monty and I, "You are sure. Tell him what you think."
I was like, "What?" What is like? You know your answer. I'm like, I don't.
We know what you say in private. So.
We know what your heart thinks. That's what matters most, bro. You know, I mean, that's the key to this game.
I was telling Mighty this morning. I'm like, I don't know, you know, because I was like, AEW's been a creative mess, but I mean, they did have Wrestle Dream and All Out, you know, like I don't know. You know, and Monty said they're great cage match shows.
Beast.
Showtime Spurs, $20. Appreciate you. Do people just have to make their bed with the variety that AEW is trying to give us? The sports entertainment to continental classic transition is jarring, but was a buffet of wrestling tropes not the point of the promotion.
Who wants to
not that kind of buffet is my short answer.
This is actually an interesting topic because this is true. There was always, when people would praise AEW, they would always talk about the variety show element. Like, one of the most memorable examples I recall is the episode when Shaq wrestled. It also featured a Tully Blanchard match, and like it was like an unhinged episode of TV. It always had that. I think what I would personally say, and this is a subjective thing, and people may disagree, I do think it's now less. To me, there was variety before, but it felt like it existed in the same world other than the Codyverse.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, is less the case now, personally. When I watch the show, I find it to be more jarring for that reason. I do think people overstate this, like, it does seem like some people recall Prime Dynamite as being like the G1, you know, or some sort of like really serious. It was never that. It was always goofy.
It wasn't Mid-South.
Right, but when I watch the show, I must admit, I do find it to be more, like, it does dizzy me at times, the way it cuts from one to the other. Again, not a new problem exactly, but I do think it's more extreme now. I think would be my stance on the matter.
It's weird because you're not wrong. AEW has always had a mix of different things, and when it was clicking, this was a big strength. You know,
Yeah.
I liked that Cody's style of wrestling was different than like the Young Bucks and the Elite, or just the Elite, and like that also contrasted with what John Moxley would do. That was a good thing, you know. But now it's less so. Again, like yesterday, this week's TV, like it was just so jarring for me, guys. Like I got whiplash. I think it's also hurt by the fact that the crowds aren't the same and they don't react to AEW the same. So that like these things not like before it's like it would be different, but like the fans were so locked in with everything and everything was so hot and so over, now like it's less so that affects things as well. I just thought like I got so much whiplash on a segment to segment basis, and I think it's also in the construction of the show, man. Like I know people hate when this is brought up and like they think it's tedious and annoying and overdone, but like it really does feel like at points when I'm watching, like I felt like I'm watching like 2018 Monday Night Raw, like just because it feels like just by the very nature of how the show is put together, it feels like it's like how do we guys, we need a new idea for this person to do a thing this week. Come up with an idea for them. Okay, what if we had Tony Storm do an acceptance speech? What if we had this person do a this person do a that? And so you get these match graphics that are basically advertisements for a segment. And maybe I'm just I don't know. It just doesn't feel the approach to how they do TV is not the exact same.
Right.
I still don't have a concrete answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because there is also a part of me that thinks like sometimes with these bigger picture conversations and we talk about like identity and tone, and I do sometimes wonder if we're overcomplicating the matter and it's just some of the things just aren't very good. Like if you look at the MJF stuff from this week's show, for example, is the issue with that the tone, or that it's just like they're not cutting good promos? Because I didn't think either him or Cole didn't really, but I didn't think Max's promo was very good. If he cuts a good promo, maybe the tone isn't much of a problem for me, or whatever it may be, wherever the example is. Christian's a perfect example. I like the Christian segment, even though it was ridiculous, because I thought he was very entertaining in that segment. So it's kind of, I think it's a complex thing. It's saying that we've kind of been to the ground, so we kind of have parked it there for the most part, but it's more fluid than I think just black or white, I guess is my take. I don't know.
And I mean, as we've seen throughout the history of just WWE, because this is the type of television that they've just chosen to do for their whole history, we've seen the best and worst versions of this approach.
Right.
So much so to be able to tell you that sports entertainment isn't inherently awful, but there are many awful versions of sports entertainment, and it's very dependent on like you have to be a certain type of television talent to pull off this type of like content and program.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if AEW is going to try to do more of that, you got to get the right people to do it. I guess the question is just, is that what they want? Is that what the fans want from the promotion? And that is split. And again, all of this is just evidence to show you that, like, I keep saying it, guys, we're in the compromise era. That's just what we're going to be in. These Continental Classic matches are essentially put on the show to appease hardcore fans that just want straight up wrestling. And in between, you're going to get these Jimmy Jacobs and Sanjay Dutt and whoever you want to name produce segments that, you're going to get mixed results from. Some of them are going to pop you and they're going to work, and some of them just won't. And that's just kind of where we're at with it. I don't know. I still don't have the answer as to what exactly is the difference between this and like AEW 2 years ago, because it was a variety show back then too.
Yeah,
it was. But time will tell, I guess.
Shot Spurs $5 following up says, for me, if the humor is clever, I can get with it, Tony Storm. If it's stale and repetitive, MJF, they lose me. I mean, someone else take this.
I think it's fair. The Tony stuff isn't really for me, but it is more creative than just, some of Max's lines on Wednesday were diabolical. I mean, it was like one of Jerry Lawler's books he'd read,
He did fire off like 10 catchphrases in like 2 seconds, like at the very start, where he was just kind of like, no one's on the level, holds the mic up of the devil, and like all that type of stuff. But that notwithstanding, my hot take is actually that, like, because I know a lot of people, and it's very understandable, a lot of people have Max fatigue. They feel that I think people are just tired of him and tired of his shit. And so it's like he comes on and it's like there's already immediately like negative interest in what he's about to do. Some people, they're walking away from their TV, they're on their phone, they don't care, right? And that's fine. That's on them. If the people don't care, that's on them, right? But as an actual segment, I actually didn't think it was like this terrible segment, to be completely honest with you. And there were things that I thought were more off-putting on the show than his angle, personally speaking.
No,
so
absolutely.
But he's the top guy, though.
Right. And so that's what I see. A lot of people, they attribute it to him, and they didn't like his part, and they blame him for the tonal direction and shift. And it's because he's the top guy. I get that.
Our friend Michael Hamflet said this, and this is important. It should be very clear that I'm not trying to position him as some sort of like, like boogeyman as to he's killing AEW. The AEW I love is being. They're letting MJF do what he does. It's not like he's going out there and going rogue.
100%.
If Tony's confident in that direction, that's not Max's fault. Max is pitching what he thinks is right. Max is 27 years old and his first time as world champion. So Tony's could easily just say no.
Yeah.
So I'm not. When I single him out, I'm not necessarily blaming his creative. I'm saying I don't think his performance has been great as of late as a promo. I mean, I thought on Wednesday it was like, and I'm biased. It is what it is, but to me, it just feels like when Joe's out there, it's a completely different vibe. To me, he's so much more believable. And again, coming from me, that don't mean shit, right? I mean, who's surprised that take?
No, but real
It's just bringing the real, bro. You know,
I believe it. Yeah.
When he walks out there, just the atmosphere changes. You know what I mean? That's just the type of guy Samoa Joe is.
Yeah.
What's also happening with Max, in my opinion, Monty, is a bit of John Cena-ism, where John Cena and Roman Reigns were the focal point in the face of the fans' frustrations with the company, you know, and obviously a lot of it can be attributed to them, but just the general, whenever fans are dissatisfied with just the direction of WWE and the feel of WWE, like, it's like, who can we attribute that as a face to? And it's like, oh, it's easy. Fucking John Cena. Oh, that piece of shit Roman Reigns. You know, and that's happened with Max too as well. And that's not to absolve any of those three people with their contributions to making fans feel this way, because they're all a part of it. But it's just interesting that's what's happened here as well.
Yeah.
Let's get through these because we're getting backed up, fellas. Will Chisholm, $5. Appreciate you. Bailey better stop teasing her getting Mercedes Moné back. All those fans will be mad unless she knows something we don't know. Yeah, we'll get into that when we do this Survivor Series preview. I did make a little note of that because what is she cooking? But anyway, Karan, 200 rupees, appreciate it. It feels weird that the Continental Classic is not addressed by any AEW champ, Max, Orange Cassidy, or Christian. Like it's a here's your wrestling.
Placating.
He spelled anyway. Placating hardcore's move so they can do their cartoony stuff. Still great though.
It definitely had and again, that's where you get to that variety show. It definitely did feel like a separate thing altogether at times. But I think we kind of predicted that on Wednesday, right? So. You know, in the Continental Classic part of things, I probably would have avoided leading with the lethal match, but you know.
Anyway.
Bro, $4.99, appreciate it. If Jay White was £20 heavier, Triple H would think of him as him in 2002 and book him as such.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's that crazy of a shout, to be honest. 6-star, appreciate it. Much love to 6 stars always with the $4.99. Jay White should have gone to WWE because then I wouldn't have to watch him in AEW. Anyways, WrestlePurist Workhorses making the towns today. Yes, we are. 6-star, appreciate you as always. Not a fan of Jay White, you know, famous Jay White hater. 6-star.
I never knew this about 6-star. There's some new lore.
You don't know your friends, but it's called it's disgusting. Hamza Mohammed, $1.99, appreciate you. Been waiting 18 months for the Randy gnarly ankle sell. Appreciate
you and me
brother.
both. Yeah, you and me both.
Does he have a signature ankle sell that I've never noticed?
Yeah, he like steps on the side of his foot, like rolls his ankle, like what you did in the basketball game.
Yeah, when he
does that. He works that. Yeah,
hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious.
Richard Jr., $4, appreciate you. We know Zoe Stark will beat Rhea Ripley for her We know Zoe Stark will beat Rhea Ripley for her title at Survivor Series to set up for Rhea to win the Royal Rumble and face Io Sky at WrestleMania 40.
This is not happening.
Do we know that? Who knows that?
This super chat absolutely rules. This person just walked in, just booked a new thing and went, we know this is going to happen, guys.
Awesome super chat.
Just like this. Caden Lee, $1.99, appreciate you as always. Can't wait for CM Punk versus Lexis King.
Yeah, that's never going to happen ever.
Cody Wills, $1.99, appreciate you. If Cutler's going to be on TV, I'm calling the police.
Well,
are we going to be able to talk about this Bucks camp thing, Monty?
Yeah, we'll talk about it in we got a couple of things, but we'll I have actually made a note. I haven't noted anything next week, just says Young Bucks, but yeah.
Because Dave put it out today, Joe. So yeah.
Annie Rudd, 200 rupees. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing that properly. Tired of this sports entertainment discourse on AEW. When done well, the stuff is good. They're doing it badly at the moment. The MJF Cole stuff was great when it started, for example. AEW did it really well. 1921.
In 2019 to 2021.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Cole MJF stuff when that was really well.
No.
Did they? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Oh.
There was a lot of bullshit. I was going for an old Dynamite, maybe the one I was mentioning, where they did like a debate, and they had like the guys from Barstool and Eric Bischoff asking questions. I think Orange and Jericho, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
There's truth to it. There's always been a lot of this stuff. Honestly, is familiarity breeds contempt, and the promotion's been around for 4 years now, and everyone's got the honeymoon phase, and everyone kind of, you've seen it. If you like it, you stuck with it. If not, you watch less of it. That's the actual truth to a lot of this. If we're being honest, right?
I give some of the horse shit in the pandemic grace though, because they really did have to try to get as creative as possible when there was no people.
Sure.
So it's like,
yeah.
Wilchers and $5, appreciate it. What made Tony to change AEW's format? Is it the media deal? Is it that WWE been hot for this long and Triple H is booking, or is it something else?
I love that our super chats are going from AEW hasn't actually changed to why the fuck did AEW change so much? Just one to the other.
I love our audience, man. They're not uniform. They're not a monolith. The Wrestle Purist universe, they have their own different opinions, and we have to address every one of them. I can tell you exactly what it was, though. So Tony Khan was overworked and had a lot of things that he had to do and a lot of mouths to feed, and he had so much to take care of, and Collision was coming up, and he made the decision that what I need to do that'll help me do this job easier, and also, in his mind, tighten up the screws on the programming and make the show better and take it over the hump. Like, let's say in Tony's mind, he saw Dynamite as an 85. He's like, this is what I'll do, and we'll get from an 85 to a 100. And if you guys haven't known, AEW has a writing staff now. It's not necessarily like WWE's where like they pay these freaking former late night show writers and stuff. He got people in the business to write his TV shows and format and stuff like that. That's why Jimmy Jacobs has been enlisted at the behest of Bryan Danielson, who recommended him, because Bryan worked with Jimmy, and Jimmy he was known for being very prolific at constructing television and being able to come up with things to fill TV time. Like if you needed to fill a block that was 6 minutes, that was 5 minutes long, and you're like, I don't know what to do, he could be like, oh, come on, Tony Storm in RJ City. Oh, Angelo Parker, he could have a crush on Ruby Soho. Like that's him, right? He's good at filling TV time. But nevertheless, that was the idea there. That was the idea there, and the results following this change in the structure of how they put together the shows around the middle of the year have been what they've been. And you either like it or you don't like it.
Hush, $2, appreciate it. AEW 2 years ago had Punk and Cody. That's the difference.
Those are two guys that are very good at doing this kind of thing.
They're two huge people to have as part of your TV show.
They're pretty good wrestlers, yeah.
Literally my two favorite wrestlers right now.
And you would have 100 rupees. Appreciate you again. How would you guys characterize the strengths and weaknesses of Triple H, Tony, and HBK as bookers? HBK in particular targets a different demo than me.
Great.
Is there a quick way to do this?
Oh. Triple H is a great long-term planner.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you can follow his product in broad strokes, but week to week can be a little bit repetitive, right? I think it's fair to say. Tony is a dynamic matchmaker and swings for the fences on that front. Is increasingly scatterbrained in terms of long-term direction. I don't know what Shawn Michaels does. I don't watch close enough. That would be my very quick summation of the other two.
I watch closer than you, but not as close as Monty, and I still can't tell you. I still can't tell you what Shawn Michaels does. He gives everybody a chance, and many of the people that he gives a chance are pretty talented. Beyond that, I do not know what Shawn Michaels does.
He is very good at that, because I do think there is like an art to giving people a chance, and I think he has done that very well in NXT, and of course, Spotlight in the women's division, which is what everyone's go-to will be with Shawn Michaels, because he's done they are on the same level as the men on that show, pretty much. It's not like Yeah, it's just as simple as that. Like they are pretty much on the same level in terms of importance, focus, etc., etc. So that's really cool to see. Seeing that being done effectively, because it's not like it's hurting the ratings. It's good for the ratings, if anything, because the NXT ratings this year has been good. I know it's had a lot of main roster help, but the views that help. Also, yeah, taking advantage of having those main roster stars come in. You know, Shawn Michaels has done pretty well with that. You know, he's used them in roles to get other talent over. He's drew ratings with them, blah blah blah. Obviously, the head-to-head with Dynamite is, you know, you don't really count that because that was just like,
right.
You know what I'm fascinated by?
NXT Mania. You know,
I have a fascination. Like this is gonna sound so weird. I'm like trying to study these people. I have a fascination with like the people that like, because they exist in big portions, and I'm fascinated with the people whose favorite wrestling show is NXT. Like they utterly fascinate. I feel like a white woman that's like examining the hair of a black child. Like I don't. It's just very interesting, but I don't totally understand, but it's just very interesting.
How would you describe? Because I like parachute in and out for matches, right, for the guide,
Right.
and I see skits on my timeline that are like unhinged, but they interest. Like,
Yeah.
what would you compare NXT's current TV to?
Nothing I've ever seen before in my life.
yeah.
Is it like kind of Attitude Era?
No,
So-
no, that's what it's
No,
nothing
there
like
is
anything I've
elements
ever
of it.
seen.
No, there is elements of it.
Yeah,
There
but
is. You can tell that Shawn Michaels was part of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially the
where my mind
backstage
goes.
stuff.
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
the thing is it's not a 1-to-1. If
Yeah,
it was,
absolutely not.
if it was, I could just be like, oh, this is like 99 WWF, you know. But it's not. It's like 99 WWF, but with like mixed with TNA Explosion, mixed with 1995 WWF, mixed with 2011 Bischoff TNA.
It also, I've noticed as well what Sean does pretty well. He goes through different modes. The show does without feeling, you know, like we talk about how Dynamite's different every fucking 2 months, but it's like in a negative sense with Tony. With Sean, he can kind of like when they done like the Global Heritage Cup, like it became more of like a wrestling show, you
Yes.
know. Then some weeks it might be like more segment heavy, you know, and it's like a lot of women in the locker room and segments and shit like that. But like he can do it in a way that isn't jarring to his audience, and the audience just
It
eat
is
it
to
up
me.
anyway.
Joe,
You don't.
I'll pop
You're
in.
not part of the audience though.
Joe, I pop in one week, right? And it's literally like Ring of Honor on Honor Club, but like with some like a slightly livelier atmosphere and some hip hop music. And then the next week it's TNA Explosion, and then the next week it's like Saved by the Bell, and it's like all women's matches and skits and stuff and like girl drama backstage. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, it really feels to me that like Sean goes, this week I want to focus on these people, and then next week I want to focus on these people, and next week I want to focus on these people. And so you got to catch him on a week where he's like, you know, I kind of like Braun Breaker and Nathan Frazier, you know. And then the next week he's like, all right, how about I just go to the entire like freaking bottom of the PC recruits and just throw them all out on TV and see what happens. It's unhinged. I don't get it. You know, I don't.
People seem to
He's
be with it
unhinged.
though. So God
Yeah,
bless.
it's
you know?
what it is. So for now, they are absolutely on an upward trajectory, upward momentum. So
Yeah.
I can't even call it outright bad. That's what I'm saying. I'm fascinated. I'm studying. I'm trying to learn. You know,
Studying.
I was reading a forum. I was on the Figure 4 Wrestling, the F4W online forum, right, for the Booker of the Year. They made a forum for a thread for Booker of the Year, and these are like tenured, respected. You know, these are fans that have been subscribed to these for a while. Joe, the consensus in there was Shawn Michaels for Booker of the Year.
Well, to be fair, what he's achieved though has been pretty cool, right?
I agree.
Like,
So that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. So I'm just reading. I just wanted to, because again, I respect these people's opinion. I wanted to know what their reasoning was, and they're like, "Hey, man, year over year, the show is up in interest. They're selling tickets outside of the PC. They're getting all these new young talents over. The ratings are up. There's so many promising people: Stratton, Braun, you know, all these people, Mello, whoever you wanted to list." And I'm reading. I'm like, I see that, Mr. Poster guy. You know,
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, man, it's definitely overall had a successful year, 1,000%. I don't even really think there's a very good argument against that. So, yeah, man. Then obviously the weaknesses are kind of the same as some of his strengths, you know, in the sense of like what we just talked about. But
I think the scariest thing, to be honest with you, is that I've seen full NXTs this year in recent weeks, that I've enjoyed more than Dynamite, and I'm like, this feels wrong.
Take some adjusting to. Mazon 84 199. Thoughts on Ring of Honor lately? I think it has been solid. I haven't seen it to give an honest take, and
Yeah,
I wouldn't grift on you guys like that, you know.
I watched a couple weeks straight. It wasn't this week; it was the week before. I watched a couple episodes. The atmosphere I find to be really tough. One thing they've done on a positive is they've tightened up the match times quite a bit, which helps a lot because it allows the matches to be more action packed, get the people on board, and then get out of there. When Tony was kind of doing that thing of like all matches that are competitive must be 10 minutes, it really struggles. The crowd has no investment, right? They're just watching these matches play out. So it's got better. It's always going to be limited by its setting. It does still have slight, an identity crisis in that its champions don't really fit what they're doing on the show. But it is increasingly finding its role as like a place for young guys to develop. Like a Lee Johnson's the obvious. I mean, I like Lee Johnson a lot, but he vanished for a while. And he's getting reps now. So hopefully it can kind of continue trending developmental in that direction.
I hope it does. I hope it does trend in that direction. Get Sky Blue on there. Karan, 100 rupees, appreciate you.
Wow.
Dave, what?
Nothing.
Karan, 100 rupees. Dave giving a Bucks match 4 1/4. That's a dud by Bucks Observer rating standards.
That wasn't the craziest rating he gave, so.
What is, Joe?
I would say it was the 4.5 star he gave to the main event of Full Gear, but the first match in history that has a comparable Dave star rating to cage match rating, even though one of those is out of 10.
Yeah, the match got like a 3 by cage match, and you gave it a 4.5. That was
crazy.
I called it. I was going to give it a 4.5. I told everybody. And
You did.
I told everybody. I speak Dave.
Fluent in Dave. So Jizzle 499, appreciate you as always. Max has always been 20 to 50% incel bullshit. Now he added NXT light bullshit, so he's offending more people. That's very aggressive, Sir Jizzle, Very aggressive. Bro, 199, appreciate it. If Colt Cabana is on my TV, ... unforgivable. Yeah, we're going to get into that book stuff. We just got to get in through these super chats, brother. Average Imp Biscuit and Joy 499, appreciate you. Which match, if any, do we reckon is getting hijacked with CM Punk chance tomorrow night?
I mean, Carlito Escobar needs to be brief and snappy. that one could die. If that goes beyond, that needs 7 minutes to me is the max on that. Not because it'll be bad, just because, like, good lord. I mean, it's a way to give a win to Santos, right? Like, if it goes beyond that, I think they may struggle.
Give me a spirited fight on the outside. They get in the ring. The bell rings. He hits him with a Phantom Driver. Carlito kicks out. You get a little hope spot in there, but then he ultimately beats him. And then you shoot an angle where Garza and Carrillo emerge. If you're going to do something with that match, it should be to get him a decisive win and to set the stage of creative following out, which, again, as Dave reported, Garza and Carrillo will be paired with Santos Escobar. So let's shoot that at the pay-per-view and get the fuck out of there in about 6-7 minutes.
Push $2, appreciate you. Gallus, what is Triple H smoking? But Authors of Pain intrigues me.
Did you see this, Joe?
We're doing the Authors of Pain thing again? Where are they?
So AOP and Gallus are internally listed for Survivor Series. And people popped for AOP, as did I.
Are they internally listed? Or they're just on the match program or something? Like one of the match programs or something like that?
Yeah, they're on the match programs internally for the show. Who knows if they actually show? AOP's been back in the company for a while. I heard rumors from talent that one of them was hurt and that's why they haven't come back yet. So we'll see what happens. But look, I like the Authors of Pain, so I'd welcome their return. Gallus is a bit unfortunate.
It will have been.
Yeah, so it's just on the program. So like the books that you get when you can buy them at the venue. So the rest of votes to it is: I'm told the Survivor Series official event program features 2 notable teams. One being Gallus, as no other NXT group or superstar is included. The other noteworthy team included in the program is Akam and Razar, formerly known as the Authors of Pain. Seems both could be heading to TV shortly.
I can give you a comparable precedent on this, Monty. In the program for Night of Champions in Saudi, Zoe Stark's name was on there, and she debuted at the show, helping Trish Stratus.
How long has it been since the Authors of Pain wrestled?
3.5 years. at least, roughly.
God bless. Cool team. That's a long time, you know. Like fuck. Think how much has changed since then.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure they'll be fine, but yeah.
I hope Paul Ellering's with them. I heard he was.
Yeah, same.
He's been signed.
Same.
That ruled when he came. Him getting a run on NXT TV.
Yeah, Paul Ellering, the manager of the Road Warriors. You know.
Yeah.
Showtime Spurs $5 appreciate you. Tired of seeing history rewritten. Prevailing opinion was Cody's stuff was terrible at the end of AEW and killed momentum of multiple new signings.
It was quite bad, yeah.
I think the Cody verse was bad but entertaining, kind of like the Christian segment.
You liked it. To be fair to you, but you always actually pop for it.
Yes.
Right?
Who was rewriting history?
Not
You.
yeah. I don't know who's doing that. I know I've been people challenged me on that, Joe. People were like, you didn't like this. You were hating on the and I would hit people with receipts where like literally the Andrade Cody match. I'm like marking out for it where he's putting him through a flaming table and shit. So
he definitely drove me nuts. Yes. I mean, he still drives me a little bit nuts now. I just kind of pop for it because it's funnier, you know, because it works.
Will Chisholm $10. It does feel like Vince and Johnny Ace have told HBK to book the sexy women no matter how good they are, or aka Toxic Attraction, and Triple H just let him do what he do. I don't agree with that at all, to be honest.
I can tell you this, because people like to attribute certain things to Shawn Michaels from People like to attribute things to Shawn Michaels from early 2.0. That was just absolutely not him. He was completely hamstrung and tied like at the first few months of this whole initiative. In fact, he was basically being told who to use and what to do from the top. It was a project that was oversaw by John Laurinaitis and Bruce Pritchard. And so, like, for example, let me give you one example. Like Jacket Time and the Magical Girl Saray were not Shawn Michaels' initiatives. And they get like consistently attributed to him, and he kind of had nothing. There's nothing he could do there. It started to become more of Shawn's baby around the spring of 2022. They started to loosen up the strings after the In Your House show, and what we see now is basically the brain work of Shawn Michaels is creative. So,
Showtime Spurs $5 appreciate you. Remember when Roxanne dropped the belt because she had an anxiety attack and never won it back?
Yeah, that was a shoot. She genuinely had personal problems that affected her time on screen. That's why she was in and out. I said this a few weeks ago.
Darren Walker, £2, appreciate you. Monty, no Sky Blue Thunder, she is a fine wrestler. Hamza Mohammed, $1.99, appreciate you. Green Grappler, Randy Orton with the Fed free needed.
I'm crying.
We will do a Green Grappler with Randy for sure.
With Randall?
For sure.
Brainbuster $1.99, appreciate you as always. Rest of Pure is on top, agreed. But yeah, keep the super chats coming. We have spent a good time answering super chats, so that's how you know we put a lot of care into your super chats and we appreciate them. So keep them coming.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let me just pull up my phone. Jay White. Let's talk a little bit more about Jay White. Jay White. So it was, I guess, reported. Wade Keller of PW Torch. He did kind of like a breakdown of like candidates who could win the Continental Classic, and he kind of went through everyone. And one of the headings was Jay White, and within that, Wade Keller writes, but White wasn't thrilled based on what I've been told how things went with the build and the match against MJF, so he might be motivated to shine in this tournament. He's still among the top choices for Tony Khan to build around as a top star in the company for years to come. So that's just kind of following up on our Jay White conversation that we had earlier. I don't blame Joe White for not being particularly very thrilled with how things went, if his report is to be believed. I've done this many times when Wade Keller reports pop up. I am usually inclined to believe when he puts out a report. So, like I said, I don't blame him, Joe.
It doesn't matter now though, because this morning he would have got the Observer in his emails, and he just scrolled ferociously until 4.5 and said, I'm thrilled with it, brother. Put his head back on the pillow. All was fine. But, yeah, I mean, it would have been weirder if he was thrilled with it, really, wouldn't it? It wasn't really much good. I don't think this is like a huge deal, because I think if Wade was really making because I agree with you, by the way. So I'm sure Wade did hear something. I don't think he's just put this out there to pop himself. But if it was something really substantial, he would have put it as a real report and he wouldn't have just like slid it into his Dynamite review. Jay may want to have good matches in the tournament, basically is what he was saying. So, I mean, the feud sucked. Jay's probably very aware of that. It felt like a whole lot of political things were going on. That's wrestling. And I'm sure he's motivated to kind of rebuild in this tournament. And he made a pretty good start for on Wednesday. So I think it's pretty much stuff you could have pieced together, but it being out there is obviously noteworthy because I think some people were looking the other way on how like ridiculous it was. Of course, Jay knows it wasn't great, right? Like he's had great matches. I'm telling you, he's probably aware. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Ibu, I don't think you'll be too surprised either, considering we spoke about this at length now.
Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't into it, or wasn't into how it turned out, and all you can do is hope that, like Joe said earlier, someone's in his corner creatively behind the scenes to kind of steer him on the right path going forward from this point.
Yeah, man, that would be. I think that would hugely benefit as a company to like find the right, creative lane for him.
I thought he was doing really well on Collision when the show started.
Yeah, get Punk back as a booker.
Yeah, right. I will say increasingly, and this is not even like no glazing. I think the non-booked by Phil portions of Jay White's AEW run have left a lot to be desired, in my opinion.
He's going to be on his Wikipedia page, the non-booked by Phil.
Yes, the parts that weren't booked by, before Collision, I was not enjoying what he was doing, and then post that run with Collision with Phil, it was basically the company going, okay, we have a guy now that like is warm. I'm not gonna say he's hot, but he was warm, and it's like, okay, we can now do a thing with a warm body, and what they did resulted in a guy who was now cold. So what are you gonna do? Jay White's super talented. Hopefully he stays in the mix, and we'll see how it turns out. You don't want another Willow Nightingale situation where she, won the Owen and was then used to heat up Sky Blue and Julia Hart. It's just kind of a person on the show.
Whew. The Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
The Young Bucks filed for a couple trademarks. One of them being Killing the Business Wrestling, KTB Wrestling, and the other being Super Dick Party.
When I first saw that, I scrolled through and I was like, I just read it as Super Kick. So I was like, I guess maybe they had to update the patent or whatever. And I just kept scrolling. Then I saw someone quoted like, wow. I'm like, what? It's a Super Kick Party. And I was like, oh. So.
Yeah, so in a follow-up, Dave Meltzer writes in The Observer, the Young Bucks, of course, they look to be doing a heel group with Brandon Cutler. Colt Cabana's name has been mentioned, but that doesn't appear to be a certainty. The idea is for them to take some time off and come back as heels with major impact. It's in the beginning stages, and there's no known time frame on when they will pull the trigger on it, and they will return. BTE is also apparently going on hiatus during this period. So this young, I think I'm going to call it now, super hot take. This Young Bucks group is going to be divisive.
Good one, boss.
It's going to be, I'm throwing myself out there, super hot take. What do you think, Ibu?
Yeah, they're gonna. I kind of hinted at this a couple weeks ago, and to the credit of the Wrestle Pierce Galaxy, you guys weren't stooging it off. But yeah, they're gonna do a group. The plan was for them to do it with Colt and Brandon Cutler. It's absolutely going to lean into all the things that were controversial over the last year. They're gonna lean into all the Punk controversy. They're gonna lean into Brawl Out. They plan to lean into all those things and use it for heel heat, with the mindset being let's draw money off of it. So it will 100%. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, their idea is like let's draw money off the discourse, and they're going to be heels. They're going to be very meta. They're going to lean into the accusations that they are very much negligent EVPs that aren't at work a lot. They're very aware of this criticism, and they will lean into this. They're going to call themselves the Bucks camp. Brandon Cutler, as you've seen, will continue to make reports on behalf of the Young Bucks. And when they get back on TV, they'll be heels. What are my opinions on this? Let's see how it plays on TV. because I could say whatever I want right now, but if they get back on TV and like this makes people furious in a way that actually gets babyface teams over and draws money, then I can't say shit. But if it just ends up being like meta crap that like accomplishes nothing, then it sucks. That's really what it is. If this accomplishes something, then it doesn't suck. If this gets people over and it gets reactions and it like inspires productive conversation that actually leads to better business for AEW, then it's a good thing. But if it's really just like inside baseball bullshit that just takes up TV time but doesn't accomplish anything, then it's that Russo WCW TNA garbage, and so I guess we have to see how they execute it and if the good part of that happens.
Yeah, let it play out, I guess. Holbert, how you feeling, mate?
Not very good, Not very good at all. It might look. We haven't seen it yet. Maybe the execution will be better but the last thing they need is like to be more wink wink about things and to be more like I read the Observer bro about things. I would rather they just cut wrestling promos, but I suppose we've lost that war already. I mean, I kind of respect it on some level, right? Like, what are you going to do? Well, we'll go home for a couple months and then we'll come back with this brand new idea. What's the idea? We're going to be a heel tag team managed by Brandon Cutler. I mean, if you can do it, God bless. So I respect it on that level. It doesn't sound interesting at all conceptually. Maybe the execution will rule, but the actual idea is not interesting to me at all.
Yeah. I'll tell you what is interesting, though. We'll do a quick... we're going to do like a quick AEW Collision Rampage doubleheader. Of course, we're going head-to-head with Survivor Series tomorrow, so there'll be no Rampage tonight, if I'm correct. So we're doing a quick preview of AEW Rampage and Collision. Then we're going to go into quickly touch on SmackDown because there's a tag title match on there. Then we'll do the Survivor Series preview to round it up. And yeah, let's get into it. I want to talk about the Blue League. That's something that we can be happy about, and I believe that will be the focus of this doubleheader, obviously specifically Collision. Might need the live chat to help me with what else is going to be on these shows, to be honest, because I'm all in on the Blue League, Joe Hall.
Me too, mate. It feels very worldwide peeled, right? It feels like something we're going to really enjoy talking about every Monday night. So I'm excited, and we're starting in very fitting fashion in that regard. Some physical action awaits us here on this Collision that no one's going to watch, but I'm going to fucking laugh. This may be the most sicko version of Collision yet, Eddie and Brody trading shots while everyone watches the Survivor Series. This is right up my alley. So, yeah, I'm excited for this block. And it kind of dawned on me as I watched Dynamite. While I like those matches, especially the main event, I liked a lot. The blue block, I think, is going to lean more to my personal tastes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now going to make a real thing of the bit that I ironically pitched about 3 days ago and become a blue block loyalist. So we're here.
Ibu, you on the blue side?
Absolutely. I need something. I need something. You know what I mean?
You're voting blue?
I am voting blue, Monty. I'm voting blue, unfortunately. When the options are limited and you're looking for answers and you don't know where to turn, I find myself as a black man having to vote blue again. And it's just where it goes.
Blue League.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, man. I look, I didn't really like this week's Dynamite, to be honest. And I think I'm envisioning I wasn't a big fan of it, but I'm thinking maybe this Collision might be what I need, just nasty physical mean wrestling.
Oh yeah.
With a little bit less of the frills in between, a little less of that bullshit, and yeah, man, shows centered on Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson and Claudio and Brody King and Garcia. I mean, sign me up. Give me a little bit less of the frills. Let these guys just give me some tough, rugged, nasty wrestling from the Blue League. These shows could be really fun. These next 4 or 5 collisions could be really, really fun. And so I hope they are. Because again, I need something. New. Give me something
We got
to
you
believe
covered,
in.
brother. We got you covered. Nigel's gonna have some new jokes ready to go. You know, Eddie's gonna be they're trading chops. Someone's chest's gonna get all red. Maybe some blood. I don't know. We bleed on Collision.
Oh yeah.
You know,
they do that grown
Lock
man
in.
shit there. You know.
Yeah.
So what from the first dosage of the Blue League, what match are you most looking forward to?
Mad King for sure. He could be wrestling me, and I'd pick Eddie. I think in this. I think Garcia and Claudio will be very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilariously another match in this line of Garcia singles where he's working a guy who's like babyface heel dynamic is kind of weird, which is fascinating. Just the way it's worked out. I think that'll be very good. But yeah, this Eddie and Brody, I think it's going to be a shootout, a real slugfest. I'm pretty excited for that. I remember they wrestled. God, I remember seeing those two fellas wrestle probably 4 or 5 years ago now on an indie. And they brawled into the crowd and they went near this older lady and they had to like stop and apologize to her because it was getting a little bit too heated, which is amazing. They're going to now do this on TV on Saturday. So I'm excited for that for sure.
Yeah, Ibu, what match are you circling, mate? Same one?
The same one. I kind of want to see what perverse shit they're going to put together. I feel like Eddie Kingston will see Brody King and be like, they're going to cosplay something from All Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm curious if it's, I don't know if it's Eddie, so they're going to get some Kings Road, but I'm curious if he also gives us a bit of Bruiser Brody. You know, they may, but then again, this is supposed to be sports like, and there's rules now. You know, you're not supposed to fight on the outside and all that jazz. So we'll see how it goes. They'll just beat the shit out of each other, and one of them might bleed.
Chops and suplexes, brother.
Chops.
That's on the menu, and that's all we need.
And Eddie going and firing up and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Big Dave gave Dax Harwood versus Roosh 4 1/4. The good guys win.
Dave's ratings are still on point. Good stuff.
Yeah, right, for sure. Absolutely.
We're back.
We are back.
Yeah. But yeah, looking forward to the start of the Blue League. I'm not sure what else has been announced for Rampage and Collision.
I think that's it.
I think that's all we got for now. So
we're outlaws on Collision, Monty. We fly by the seat of our pants, you know, mate.
Absolutely.
All right, so a quick SmackDown preview before we dive into Survivor Series. Street Profits got a tag title shot.
Yep.
Got a tag title shot against Judgment Day.
Yep.
And what we're thinking, I hope they really show out in this, and I hope they get given time to show out in this, because their performances as heels yet haven't quite clicked for me in that sense. You know, like they're still good wrestlers, and they're not having bad performances.
But they used to jump off the page.
Yes, exactly. So hopefully,
Baby here though, right?
Yes, they will be.
Yeah, exactly. You're way ahead of me, Joe. You know,
it would be interesting, Monty and Joe, if the company realizes this and they're testing it. You know what I mean? Like I can tell you this: one member of this group expressed concern about working heel. So, you know, sorry, I'm a little distracted, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see them work babyface. I think the match could be very good. There's going to be a lot of Judgment Day just simply being on SmackDown is interesting because we might get some Rey Mysterio. I don't know. I'm distracted. Continue. I'm sorry.
Do you think they might win this match?
I wouldn't be mad at it, but I'm not expecting it at all, to be honest.
It's just, it feels like a weird match to do, you know, unless you wanted to go somewhere specific. Because the reason is we kind of stumbled into you're getting them over as heels, and you're doing this match. Unless, as Ibu kind of alluded to, perhaps there's a plan there in play. I don't know.
But yeah, I hope they have a good performance, and I think it can absolutely be a good match because 4 good wrestlers in there, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see Profits get some real good momentum.
Oh my God, there's going to be 16,000 people in the building tonight. Holy shit!
Wow. So I think it was Montez or Angelo. Like they tweeted earlier, like it's been like 3 years since they had their big tag run, more or less.
They tweeted that?
I think it was Montez. Let me double check.
Interesting. The thing is, Judgment Day holding the belts is interesting in the sense that, like, technically you're allowed to go both brands with these, right? And I think post post Survivor Series, I would use that as like a way to do a clean slate creatively. And one of the things you could do to kind of add some new life or freshness to the TV is I'd have Judgment Day kind of messing with the SmackDown tag division for a little bit, you know. Whereas Raw on that side, you can maybe build storylines around the world title, and then you can maybe just start to position Imperium more so on Raw. I don't know if you heard this, Joe, but next week on Raw they're doing a tag turmoil match. It is the Creed brothers, DIY, Alpha Academy, New Day, Imperium, Indushare, and another team that escapes me at the moment.
My goodness, that's a pretty strong lineup, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Joe. Yes, it is. There's a lot of really good teams.
Strong division, brother.
And so I was talking about this with Rob on the Raw review, but unless I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure Tag Turmoil is a gauntlet, I think.
Yeah.
So there you go. So it's a gauntlet, right? And I said that there are 3 finishes here that would be very productive. Because the winner of this Tag Turmoil gets a shot at the tag titles. Either A, you get the Creeds over by running the table, and then they maybe get an early tag title shot that they eventually lose against the Judgment Day. 2, you do DIY and do the same thing. Or 3, maybe the most interesting, you have Kaiser and Vinci finally put an end to this whole like they can't get along thing by establishing them strong, by having them run the table. And that sets the stage for Imperium being the top heel faction on Raw after Survivor Series, which the more I think about, I think should honestly be considered.
Yeah, it should be a good showcase as well for the division as well, because, like Joe said, strong lineup, brother. You know,
Someone said AOP wins the turmoil.
Hey.
Oh my god!
No, yeah. So it was Montez. It was Montez that tweeted. It's been nearly 3 years since the Street Profits have held tag team gold. That all ends tonight at home in Chicago. #SmackDown.
I guess because the Usos had them for so long, right?
Montez is from Chicago.
According to this tweet,
they gotta work baby tonight. They gotta work baby tonight.
They're gonna work baby.
Yeah, they're gonna anyway. So
yeah,
maybe they win. Maybe they do win. I don't know.
I mean, hey, listen, maybe fucking Cody Rhodes, one of these guys on the other team, just screws them over or something.
The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, the American Nightmare.
Another thing I want to touch on going into Survivor Series. Do you think LA Knight makes the card?
I hope not.
I think they're going to stay at 5. Well, to be fair, 5 match card takes them about 8 hours to get through, so let's leave it at 5. Yeah.
That's more why I said it. Nothing against LA Knight.
Who would he work? Solo?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, Solo. He can't work Jimmy again because it would be his third match.
Nerve hold.
Oh man,
I'm feeling a nice 2.5.
That takes 30 minutes of pay-per-view airtime to get through.
You don't think he makes it, no?
I don't.
I don't know. Dave Meltzer said that LA Knight's not facing Roman at Rumble, which I never expected him to, but some people thought it was going to happen based off the TV. But Dave said that there's other plans for Roman, the Rumble, and LA Knight for that show. So we'll see what that means. I expect AJ Styles to be making his return with Luke Gallows, who will have a new knee.
Have you seen his new beard?
No, he has a new beard.
He's rocking the Ministry of Darkness taker. That's what he's going with right now.
Shit. Is it on his Twitter?
Probably. I saw it on Machine Gun's Instagram. He's probably on his Twitter.
I was going to say tell Monty to pull that up. That'd be a good bit.
I'm saying his business just picked up. That's what
business picked up. Yeah, listen. They were going to do Styles and Roman originally at Saudi, and then they kept pushing it back. And the reason they're pushing it back is because Luke Gallows took that "please don't fire me" elective knee surgery, and they want the OC to be intact when they do this program.
The LWO Gazas. It's kind of been there's been an update on them. I'll try to find it word for word. All right. Regarding the LWO split, this is from Dave Meltzer in the Observer News now. The original idea was for Wild and Del Toro to stay with Escobar and feud with Ray and Carlito and a third person. From TV, that would make sense to be Dragon Lee, as the idea of Lee being the guy they are hoping can be a future Mysterio-style flying think it means superstar or whatever.
I
So
love that.
aligning them doing the endorsement thing would make sense. The Gazas are the ones who are scheduled at this point to replace Wilder Del Toro on Escobar's side. The speculation of Lopez, who was with Escobar in NXT, being on that side to feud with Vega, but that is not at all confirmed. Looks like we're getting the Gazas up, Ibu.
Monty, I saw them wrestle a No Fame Blade on NXT this week, and one of the things that I noticed was in WWE when you turn heel, they make you like work this. They'll tell you like be vicious, be whatever the fuck, right? And like every wrestler's take on that is different, but many of the wrestlers' take on that in the WWE system is very much like be kind of boring and just deliberate and like put on mean faces. The Street Profits are trying to figure out how to kind of work it in, and they look good. They don't look bad. They just haven't been able to recreate just their dynamism, right? I point this out to say that I saw the Garzas on NXT this week, and I just was pumping my fists, man. It just these young Mexican wrestlers, man, they're built different, bro. Their idea of just being savages and stuff is great. Their idea of a heat segment is to just kick the shit out of somebody, Roosh style. Like they're just throwing hard chops and kicking people with PKs and shit and doing tag team moves where they're just beating the fuck out of people. And I'm like, I watched that and I was like, oh man, this is an actual working heel tag team that they're like wrestling and they're brutal. I got real into it, you know. I got real into it, you know. Pretty Deadly, not my speed, not my flavor of ice cream, you know. And like I said, the Street Profits are still figuring that out. The Garzas, though, I was like, man, this is some real heel working tag team shit, you know. Like they could be a SmackDown equivalent to Imperium in that sense, Kaiser and Vinci. So I'm on board. I think these guys should absolutely be back up. I think the NXT thing was just a quick little trip for them to kind of get their mojo back, which I think has been successful as a venture. So I'm ready for this. I'd shoot the angle at Survivor Series. And I'd have Dragon Lee make the save. You shoot the whole thing.
Yeah, man. I won't be mad at you. Happy to see him get called up. You know, they're definitely ready. You know, in terms of them as workers, they never needed to particularly go down in the first place. It was just kind of it was just reinventing themselves. You know, and they have. So happy to see. And last thing, do you think there's anything to what Bailey put on Instagram earlier? Because I need to know. I need to know if there is, because it's very weird post to post. If you know, if she's not cooking something. So Joe Hulbert, I know you're not on Instagram like the kids are all the time. You know,
well,
but, Bailey posted on her Instagram story a picture of herself, Kyrie, Asuka, and Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, with the caption, "I've always got a plan."
Thing is, though, and this is outdated thinking. Whenever someone does a hint that heavy-handed, I always think if it was actually going to happen, that post wouldn't be made. Now that may be outdated.
Maybe not thinking. I don't think at Survivor Series, but
I think Mercedes is going to work WrestleMania. Personally, I don't know if we've talked about this on the air, but we've talked about this quite a bit off the air, right, Money? Like I don't know if it's bled over to the shows.
What do you say? You think Mercedes is doing Mania? You think?
Yeah, I think she'll be back. I think she's going to work the Tokyo Dome.
That would be dude.
I don't think it would, though. If you really think about it, like,
yeah, I don't know, it's man. Really not that nuts. If you think
no. So her whole saga has been very odd, and I know what you're gonna say, and I'll let you say it in a second. It'll be nuts only in the standpoint of like everyone's doing the whole like she's expected to work with AEW shortly. She's expected to be with their women's. She's expected to do this and this. So if that just doesn't happen and she spurns them and just does her Tokyo Dome date and whatever else she wants to do, I don't think she's going to work the Tokyo Dome actually. But if she does like another couple of Japan dates and stuff and maybe a couple more bucket listings and just shows about Mania, that would be absolutely nuts. And it would also be, I think, in my opinion, a perception blow to AEW, to be completely frank with you.
Anyone who's predicting what Mercedes is going to do with confidence is off, because I don't think many people, other than the folks that are like very much close to her in her circle, actually know. She's very good at keeping that stuff, unless it's supposed to be out there. Like obviously last year, it was very apparent they wanted to get out there. New Japan did, that she was going to be at the Dome, right? But on her side of things, she's very good at keeping things quiet like that. So no one knows for sure. I mean, we're in November and we had the thing at Wembley. But like, you know, I think it's impossible not to kind of ponder that she's just going back at this point. Now, again, I don't know anything. That's guesswork.
Mm-hmm.
Total guesswork, and I think she will still do a couple more things for New Japan. But I think she'll be back by Mania personally. Again, total guess, but that's just me.
If this happened, a certain man on this panel would just act like an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah, it's not me or you.
No. Certain man is gonna be an absolute.
Hold on.
He's gonna be an absolute piece of shit.
Hold on a minute. You know,
Monty's gonna be on a worldwide with a grin. You know,
he's gonna have the gimmicks on that she wears on her like knuckles. You know, he's gonna have them on. The shades.
Oh man.
But yeah, moving on. What we still got Ibu.
Yeah.
In the next few minutes or so. Survivor Series preview, and I think it would be wrong for us not to at least touch on Mr. CM Punk before we go into Survivor Series tomorrow. So, yeah, okay. I guess the latest update was from Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. It is Friday, so we have gone to that a lot today. But from the start, we were told that there is negativity about CM Punk. They, WWE, are not completely opposed to it and him returning if the idea is something that they have to do regards to fan response. We've seen no evidence that CM Punk coming back to WWE this weekend is happening, and those close to the situation have denied it, but it is possible it's a well-kept secret. There's always those disclaimers, whether it's Sean, Dave, anyone, you know, it doesn't matter how respected or how good your hit rate is with scoops, you know, they're all including that little disclaimer, you know, could be a well-kept secret. That doesn't mean things can always change, you know, and it is, though, it's always fair. No, it's fair for them to do that, you know, it's wrestling. But, you know, as of now, it does not seem that CM Punk is booked for Survivor Series, but could Triple H fucking spaz out and fucking phone him in the afternoon tomorrow? He's in Chicago, you know, so, but
wasn't there another quote by Dwayne? Wasn't there Dwayne the Rock Meltzer? But, wasn't there another quote where he basically said something along the lines of like they're not against it actually, and it's really up to fan demand?
Yeah, you must have missed me saying it.
Oh, I probably did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, it's something. It's basically something they wouldn't be opposed to if what's the word? If they have to do it in regards to fan response. So
that was a really interesting way to phrase it, you know? Like, it was like an active, like actively encouraging the hardcore fans to be louder about how much they want it. I don't think he's going to be there tomorrow. I do think he's going to be there.
Rumble, baby.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Rumble, baby. Yeah, that's my prediction. I don't think we're seeing him tomorrow. It would be really funny though if he like bought a ticket though, you know. And you see like fan videos just starting to emerge online. Like it's not even a thing where WWE put him on camera. Like he's just there, you know.
That would disrupt the show because people would find out about it and chant for him, and then that would make WWE really really mad.
God bless. Wouldn't put it past him.
No.
I put nothing past him.
But yeah, I don't think he's going to be there. I don't think he's going to get booked for Survivor Series. I've said from the start, I think Survivor Series is a little bit too soon, even though it does make all the romantic sense in the world because it's in Chicago and it's a big 4 pay-per-view, you know. So of course I get the speculation. It's fucking Chicago, you know. But I always thought it was a little soon, and I've never really been too bought into thinking it's going to happen. Regardless of whether the reports have said that it's close or whether he's not coming in or not, or whoever you decide to listen to on Twitter, you know. And obviously I know Joe and Ibu can kind of vouch for me on that. I've never really been convinced it's happening. I don't think any of us have been super convinced it will happen at Survivor Series, to be honest.
When it all went down, we were all very much like, Mania season is what's a circle. You know, that's the thing to look at. And then naturally we look at the Rumble because that would be a kickoff point for that. But I just think with 2-night Mania, having CM Punk in your back pocket to work a major program is like, that's a pretty good place to be, you know? They got a lot of guys over these last few years, and God bless them, but it's still nice to have CM Punk to be able to anchor some of your TV with his promos, you know? If you take Seb, for example, I know we have our fun with Seb, but seriously, Seth Rollins working CM at WrestleMania. That's like, to me, the most interesting thing Seth could do by far. Just because it'd be interesting to see those promos, right? What does that look like in 2024? You know, same goes for Kevin Owens, and that's not a knock on Seth or Kevin. The point I'm making is that Punk hasn't been there for so long. It's natural, I think, to go with that. So I expect he'll be there for Mania season. I could be wrong, but that's my guess.
Yep.
Yeah, Bill. You got anything you want to add, or any hot take? Well, we've kind of been around this block so many times, you know.
Exactly. We have. I don't know what to add, but yeah, I got nothing. I don't know.
There we go. Yeah.
He's probably not going to be there at Survivor Series. I actually don't think the fans are going to like hijack the show. People have been like, I've seen people go like, oh, they might hijack. I don't think they're going to hijack the show. I think it's a different WWE audience. I do think Chicago actually experiences a little bit of Punk fatigue, and I think like it's not like 2012 Chicago where like it's like that's like their diehard guy that like what I mean. So I think these are just.
Oh man, because you know what it is, bro. A lot of the more casual fans as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of more people, I think, are expecting it to happen than
a lot of people.
It's like my brother's, like you don't watch the shows live or anything like Raw and stuff like that. But like most of the time he'll catch up and stuff like that. He'll watch the YouTube clips, blah blah blah. Like he's a very kind of like normal fan, in that sense, and like he's pretty convinced that Punk's going to be there tomorrow, despite me trying to tell him like, listen, bro, like. You're getting Randa. We can celebrate that. We can get the champagne out, but CM Punk, we're just going to have to hold out until the end of January, I'm thinking.
You know what's funny, Monty? This literally happened tonight. It was crazy. At my job, right? Someone runs into me. He's a kid who works at my job, and he goes, do you have a Twitter page? I said, yes, I do. He goes, you watch wrestling? I said, yes, I do. And he goes, You're and he says that the Ebu wrestler's back of him. I'm like, yes, that is me. And then his first question, guys, because clearly he just ran into my page. His first question is CM Punk gonna be at Survivor Series? Like that's his first question to me. So I do get that. Like the casual guy who just like whatever. Like they just know Survivor Series in Chicago. CM Punk's a free agent. Be like, oh, like. So he's coming, right? So
it's also for a lot of that audience, they never got to like the Punk return didn't really exist to a lot of that audience,
Exactly.
Like a lot of the fans that go nuts if he comes out at the Rumble or tomorrow, whatever it'll be, they may have seen the clip of the first dance, but they didn't ride that wave because they wasn't following AEW.
Yeah, bro, I can say with like 99% confidence that I don't think my brother's seen a single second of CM Punk in AEW.
And let me be clear, I'm not saying that in this like snobby way. I'm just saying for a lot of people that's just the wrestling they're aware of, and that's
it's just the reality.
That's just the way it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Joe, I'm seeing WWE fans posting like Punk clips of Punk from like 12 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
They're like nostalgic. It's like, remember when Punk did this? And CM Punk was a menace in 2011. They're posting him saying things to Stephanie and stuff. And I'm like, this really is like where they left him. Like they left him here. And
that's wrestling's always been that way. Like I've given the example a million times before. I apologize for boring people, but go back and watch the Dudleys return to the Fed. It was crazy, bro. It was like such a big deal, and they just had been together in TNA the year before, and no one cared at all.
Yeah,
they were back with the music and the camo.
Yeah, the Hardys as well, bro.
Yeah, but at least the Hardys had the broken thing. The broken thing at least give them like a. The Dudleys were like, bro, 2014, Team 3D. Like, who give a shit,
Yeah.
They hit the pyro and came out to the WWE theme. People were like, let's fucking go,
Yeah, they were taken back to 2001, Like, it's like, oh, holy shit, yeah.
What about Carlito is wrestling tomorrow night on the Survivor Series? Well, who's the last person that said to you, you seen Carlito's indie run? Like,
exactly.
That's the way, that's graps, man. I mean, this is what it is. But anyway, carry on, Monty, my bad.
New setting, fresh coat of paint, and it's like, the magic's back for some of these people.
Shame about Carlito's theme. And we'll start with that with the Survivor Series preview because we've already basically spoke about it. Like, hopefully you can either like make it kind of like short and exciting, maybe just do like a big angle with it, and kind of go that route. Because if you do like a drawn out 15-minute match, where Carlito's just kind of rolling around selling, it would you might get the Punk chance, even if the crowd didn't want to do them beforehand, So
You would hope they have enough awareness to agent this in a way that doesn't just bore the shit out of people.
Yeah.
I don't think Carlito has a 16-minute pay-per-view match in him. And as a result, you should be using this to just get something over and be productive rather than to try to have a 2-star long wrestling match.
Yeah, just make Santos look vicious, as they say.
Just give him a good win on pay-per-view, man. That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, hope it's a big night for Santos because I'm a big fan. Gunther versus The Miz, a clash of worlds here, and that's kind of the direction I've gone with the story going into this match, which is the right story to tell with these two wrestlers, I think, and I guess kind of tip my hat a little bit to what they've done creatively with it because I'm kind of interested now, John. You know?
Yeah, me too.
Kind of interested.
About a week or so ago, our friend the Oracle of Wrestling had this unhinged plan for this match where he was mapping out, he was like agenting it via text message to me about, the Miz like hitting a low blow here, Maurice doing something here, like all of these different things he could do to cheat. And in that kind of like, like he would be a baby face because the people would just be kind of popping for his different antics and all these different plots he has. And the idea being that Gunther is while he's this great wrestler, he's never encountered such an approach. And I thought it was really fun. And then I saw the go home segment and I was like, that may actually be what they do here. I kind of think that's the play. Why have Miz fight from underneath as a traditional babyface when you could have him like setting up these like booby traps, and Gunther kind of like just baffled at what's going on. I don't know. I think there's room to have fun with this. Ultimately, you trust Gunther's instinct because he's incredible in that regard. One of the sharpest wrestling brains we have. So I'm very confident this is going to be really good, actually. I'm very confident. The build has been terrific, so I'm into it.
Yeah, it makes me really mad. This has been a really well built match, and it actually like actively feels like a big deal on this show, which is crazy. Gunther's a genius. I have some insight actually.
Okay,
nothing crazy, but the insight is just that Gunther actually is like really interested in putting this together. Like he finds this like a very unique challenge. Well, he just thinks that like this is like a really interesting challenge and like one of the most interesting like tasks he's ever been like one of the most interesting things he's been tasked with in his career ever. Like just putting together a great match with The Miz. Like it's just fascinating to him. With that, yeah, I guess so. I'm sure in his mind he's like, how do I make it work with this shitter? But we'll see how it turns out. I visualize this in some respects kind of being like Brock Danielson, where like he's kicking the shit out of the guy for the longest time, and then the low blow comes in and it turns the tide, and you get a couple of hope spots before Gunther gets the upper hand. You know what I would like to see though? I'd like Gunther to just absolutely like. I want Gunther to introduce Miz to a level of physicality and violence that he's never experienced in a match before, and I want to see Miz have to like figure out what to do with that. And maybe have a hope spot here or there, but ultimately just I want the hope to fade out of his eyes. And as the crowd gets into Miz, Gunther just absolutely silences all of them and just like completely just eradicates the guy. And I'm not even saying this like I'm saying this in the sense that like if this guy is going to be like a real like player and a serious villain on the show, then like you do have to emphatically kind of just like dash the hopes of people like this. And so I think you can have something really interesting and enjoyable. But ultimately, Gunther standing over this guy's just a fallen body, to a chorus of boos, and that's that. I want to also add, I said this to AO, smart crowds aren't what they used to be, Joe. They used to have balls. You know what I mean? Now WWE crowds just kind of they're compliant, but like the old Chicago, you know what they do in this situation? The old Chicago would be chanting "fuck him up, Gunther, fuck him up," and they'd boo all of Miz's offense.
Sure.
That's not what's going to happen on Sunday. They're going to cheer for the Miz.
Yeah, it's a family show.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark for the women's world title. I think Rhea Ripley is going to get the win here. I think she's going to retain. I think they'll have a nice little match on the show. I think there could be a victim of poor placement or the match going too long. But ultimately, I do think the work in this will be pretty solid. So, I'm going with Rhea. Rhea, Zoe Stark. Quick predictions. Rhea or Zoe Stark, Joe? Ibu?
I think Rhea's going to win, obviously, but agenting is the key here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have Rhea take a heat segment because the crowd's going to be way more into Rhea than Zoe. I think you got to do a shootout. Zoe has some really good offense.
Mm-hmm.
You do a shootout and do like sequencing and back and forth. I think Zoe will get over in this match, honestly, because she's dynamic. So Agent will make or break this. Hopefully on Sunday morning, one of the big stories is that Zoe Stark had like a big performance, because let's be honest, they need to get people.
Yeah.
I always use that phrase, and they get people across that bridge, right, from one section to the other. It's a big bridge now. It's getting wider, longer and longer. So they need to get Zoe across it. Hopefully this works.
Totally agree. What I all I can do is just cross the fingers and hope that, for the sake of the women's division and for Zoe Stark, that she has the type of performance that people talk about in a notable way, and she has a match. Even because here's the thing, like for example, Natalya versus Rhea. Remember that match that overachieved in the middle of the year on Raw?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Zoe had something like that, and there's some heat in the building, and it's like you walk away and like they had this very good women's title match on Survivor Series, and Zoe Stark is seen internally as somebody that they can now plug in these situations and rely upon her. That's a good thing. That just helps everybody. It helps the division. So all you can do is hope that. I think even the worst version of that, I think the worst version of this match is just like an okay wrestling match that doesn't have heat. That's like the worst version, in my opinion. Yeah, like I don't think the worst version is offensive. It's just not productive.
It's the heat would be the concern.
That's
that
what
would
I'm
be
saying.
the key.
The worst version of this is a match with middling work and no heat. The best version of this match is like they just had a great match, and like Zoe Stark came out of it, and people like cheer for her in a sustained way coming out of it. We'll see where it lands on that spectrum, and hopefully it's closer to the higher end.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. That was all about the singles matches. So we've just got the War Games matches to get into now. We'll start with the women. We've got the new Damage Control. Of course, Bailey, Io, Kyrie, and Asuka versus Team Charlotte, as Michael Cole called it on commentary. So that is Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Shotzi, and Bianca Belair. So it's kind of like the all-star baby faces and Shotzi versus the new Damage Control. I know, even if you like Shotzi, you can't call her an all-star.
No, she's not an all-star. She's a role player.
I think that I'm actually kind of unsure on who's going to win this, because you can do the whole thing of like new Damage Control losing and it being Bailey's fault and playing to that story, or you of course can establish dominance with this new group. So I'm gonna go with Damage Control. I don't think they're gonna do the Bailey fuck up just yet.
I think she should go over. I mean, I think they should go over. I don't think you cannot have Shotzi in this match and not have Rita pin. Quite frankly,
yeah. It also feels like the baby faces are winning the men's War Games match too, right?
Yeah, so that's what I think should happen. I think the baby should win the men's one, and the heel should win the women's one. This new version of Damage Control is kind of a minor miracle, because Damage Control as a stable has generally been a creative failure, broadly speaking, and it hasn't really done much. And this new injection post Kyrie has not only made them a viable act, they're interesting, they're over, and they're like actually like popping quarters. So this is the most dynamic thing on SmackDown, and it's kind of big business in box office. So it might as well run with it. And like I would use this match to showcase Kyrie specifically, and let them kind of kick ass in there.
It's also like the inevitable segment where they kick Bailey from the group is almost even more killer if they do it after winning.
I agree.
That's like even like just ice cold about it. So
100%.
Yeah, I think Shotzi's probably going to take the fall upon fall.
Mm-hmm.
Becky,
who do you think?
What's up, Monty?
Who do you think? I was gonna say, who do you think starts?
Should be Bianca and Kyrie, in my opinion.
I think they'll say Kyrie just because there's like she's just come back, that kind of mystique that she has. I could see Becky and Asuka.
Oh yeah, Becky's in this thing
because they're super familiar with each other.
On the babyface side, it should be either Becky or Bianca. It should not be Charlotte Flair one-on-one with somebody. Nor should
I would say Becky, because last year she was in last, right? Okay. So like last year I think Bianca opened and she was in last. I'm pretty sure.
Becky's a good choice because I think it guarantees heat from the beginning. Because she's so over. You want to. That's really I swear to God. But look, guys, There's going to be so many types of stunts and jumps and flippy doos in all these matches. What I need for these matches to work is the proper structure, which there's only one way to fucking do this thing right, and for some goddamn heat, and for this to be handled succinctly and not in 50 minutes. That's really what this is about. Heat, structure, succinctness. 3 keys. Do whatever fucking 750 through ass glass you want to do. Just listen, it's those 3 things that'll make this work. If Becky's in there firing up against EO or whoever the fuck it is, and the other people are coming out, and Charlotte's agent to just kind of be a hot tag where she comes in and does her little spears and all that type of shit, whatever the fuck, it's all fine by me. It just has to be structured in that way. And so I think Becky guarantees the heat early on for the women.
All right. Yeah, I think that they've got the ingredients here for a really good, showcase. So, I'm actually looking forward to it, especially seeing what Kyrie does in there. But yeah, okay. Men's War Games, Team Cody, which is Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and fuck, who's the one
Seth
before?
freaking Rollins.
Of course, I'm fucking World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins and the returning Legend Killer Randy Orton. He's on Team Cody. It's official. It's been announced. He's on the posters. It looks tremendous. It's and they will be taking on the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre. So I'm hoping that, mainly because of a lot of the reasons that Ibu was just saying about what makes a War Games special and what makes the great War Games matches, and the WWE versions of it haven't been able to kind of follow that structure very well, and they kind of just become a lot of plunder and stuff, So kind of like my hope going into this, which is very probably naive and hopeful, is that the addition of Cody Rhodes just makes this real graps,
real. Makes it real.
Like I said, it might be naive and just kind of hopeful, but
who should be the starting one in this one, Joe?
This one, I would have Cody lead from the front. Honestly,
same
with Finn Balor.
That sounds very. The agents are in grill like. You'd always trust Finn. He knows how to work, and Cody, he'll get this ship started right at the beginning, So.
Because I think if you go like Seth, with the angle they're doing with Seth's back being, I just think that would be
no.
I
don't mind Sammy at the beginning.
Yeah,
I don't mind him kind of selling and just I don't mind that. Him firing back up and getting chopped and shit. And
Randy's hot honestly, when he comes in last, it's going to be just.
You know what? Sami Zayn and Drew had that killer match on Raw. I wouldn't hate, even though Drew's probably going to be a late addition, destroyer into the match. He's going to be a big destroyer. But I wouldn't hate him and Sammy kind of just doing stuff at the beginning. But he's probably going to be that final boss entrance, just running through guys. Yeah.
I think one of the kind of small things is, we talked about this when we did the late night grin on Tuesday. You don't want to have Randy standing in a dipshit cage, right? No. You got to find a way for Randy to make his entrance when he comes out.
Oh,
you can't have him standing around in the.
No, just do what they do with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
Then you got to do some horse shit backstage thing early on where they're like, Cody, where is he? And he's like, I don't know, man. I haven't gotten him all day. Maybe he's later. I don't know.
You could do, and just the last thing he'll be here. You do that thing. You don't want him standing around. I mean, I don't like that thing in general. I know that why they do it, because God forbid people just stand at ringside. Someone might call the police. But
you gotta stand like. Do you remember last year though? Roman, he had this cool. He was sitting in a chair
he had a chair.
Cool. It's more, honestly, to me, it's more the pop, right? Like Randy getting the big. We didn't get on Monday, so
yes.
I think this is for the sickos that love old school War Games. This is the last hope, because if Cody doesn't do it, then
it's over.
It's over, which is fine. They're a different type of match now, and they always get over, and they're entertaining matches. They're just not what I think of as War Games. Yeah, which is fine. Things change, whatever. I'm trying to be less for stick in the mud about that, because I drove myself nuts with it last year. It's not going to be super violent, because there's not going to be even if Cody does bleed, he's going to be the only one.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I do think this will, and I thought last year's men's war games did a pretty good job of this, even if it didn't have the heat I wanted. It was it nailed the part of the dramatic part of things, that kind of, because Dusty loved that dramatic flair with war games. He always did. And Cody will definitely have that covered. There'll be some infighting with Jay and Randy. There'll be these big theatrical moments. The biggest key, and something that I think is really lost with war games, is because WWE is so tight with their agent in, it almost works a detriment where everything leads to these set pieces, right? Now is the moment where you two pair up and do this with that weapon, and then everyone will sit down while you do that. The real magic of war games isn't the set pieces; it's when everyone's just fighting each other across the ring. It's war, In
the old ones, you get the shots, and you just zoom out to the double cage visual, and all you see is just fists and blood flying, and it's just a big mess of 10 people, fists and blood flying, and it's chaos, it's fire, it's passion, it's war game.
Exactly. Yeah. So and that is, it is what it is. I think for the way they do them, this will be very good. I'm really excited to see Randy. God, man, it's been way too long. Just a great example of what you got into is gone, right? Like, good Lord. So I'm thrilled to see him, and I'm excited for the match because Cody, I trust in Cody Rhodes when it comes to war games.
Yeah. In the same boat as me, brother.
We
believe in the code, man.
There's going to be a moment where he does a Cody cutter and Randy Orton does an RKO.
Beautiful. Sweet music. It's back.
Right. Oh my God. Randy's gonna punt somebody. He's probably gonna punt Dominic or JD.
We all settling on the babyface who's getting the win here. Team Coda. Yeah.
Yep. They should.
Any chance of a cash in? Well. Any cash in thoughts from you two fellas? Because it's interesting. Right? Priest is already in there. I think when we did the Grim, we settled on it won't happen. But there is an interesting thing to be done with war games in that regard. That could be kind of wild, right? Maybe not this year, but some other time.
Where maybe things clear out a little bit after the dust is,
Well, you could shoot an angle where in the rubble everyone's down, and then you do the. Imagine they did it in the middle of the match. How fucking nuts that would be. They wouldn't do it this year because Randy's the focus this year.
That'd be really weird.
Imagine Rhea runs down with the briefcase, whatever it may. I was pondering different.
Maybe Rhea runs down with the briefcase to try to set it up, and Randy RKO's her.
There you go. You get what you want. There you go.
Yeah, and I get my.
If we just had to get there,
the wheels have been turning in my brain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You just had to go. You had to get to his desired destination. All right, so there's our quick preview and predictions for Survivor Series, and I guess we're going to take some super chats and get out of here. Mm-hmm. All right, man. Keep them coming. Cheesy, $5. Appreciate it. I had a convo with someone on Twitter about AEW need to start airing their full backstage aftermatch promos. Examples, Daddy Magic's and Danny Garcia's opinions. It's very case by case, but there has been a lot of good promos that have been online exclusives that they haven't really done enough with,
Rampage will be a great place, especially, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, because you got the audience that knows that it's filmed directly after Dynamite, so it kind of makes sense in that sort of way, and then of course it's the next show, so and
they don't have to be aired in full either. There's a middle ground there, you can clip these things up and get the point across also. So I definitely think they should have a presence on TV for sure.
Mm-hmm. People like to say how these are better than the promos on TV, and it's you should. There's a reason why. It's because
they're promos.
Yeah, it's people, raw, emotional, just being real, and just talking, versus the producers telling you well, the story is about this thing and that object that you're fighting over, and so portray this feeling and that thing on TV, and then you start having people acting, and with the promos, it's not really like that on the backstage ones.
TNA's Most Loyal Soldier 499, appreciate you. Fellas, hoping your Turkey Day festivities were good. What's the Jack Perry being the devil percentage?
Yeah. They've been pretty aggressive about telling you who it is, I think, at this point, honestly.
0% for the people who were just listening, by the way. Brainbuster 199. People still like Boom Boom in 2023?
No!
I mean, you'll have to go search and find one. But Karan, 100 rupees, appreciate it. Name one good Bucks tag feud that wasn't elite breakup but involved Mox and Eddie, who just rule. Not their matches, obviously, the actual feuds.
Ibu?
Yeah, this is your field of expertise. Right.
I was gonna say the Young Bucks. I mean, the Lucha Brothers feud was great, but that was because like they had a great series of matches. From a storyline, the best Young Bucks storyline is not like elite based or Mox and Eddie. I don't know, man. What do you want from me? Their feud with Santana and Ortiz at the start of AEW was fun.
You named one.
Yeah,
there you go. Christoph, 199. Appreciate you. Swerve World Champ 2024 chances.
I think there's maybe a 35% chance it happens.
Yeah, I was literally going to say 60, 65. Like you came out and said 34% chance. So.
I think there's a 35% chance it happens at the end of next year.
Yeah, Osprey's penciled in, I think, already. So I think that's going to be max on Osprey. So it's going to be the end of the year, I think.
Yeah, I'm about 60, 40, 50, 50. I don't know. Bruh, 199. Appreciate it. Odds on Cody getting colour tomorrow. Hair colour. I think he's definitely going to get colour. I think he is.
35 to 40% chance he will try.
No, I'm going higher than that, bro. Cody Rhodes trying to get colour tomorrow. I'm at like 85.
Running his head into the cage.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Did you see what he let? You see what he let Rollins do to him at Mania?
That was wild. Yeah, shoot quad kicks. Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If that match has heat and Cody bleeds, and it's just him and Randy running wild at the end, I'm gonna give it a pretty embarrassing rating. It is what it is.
Bro.
Yeah,
you and me both.
You can always cover embarrassing ratings with heat. If a match has good heat, you can rate whatever you want. That's my philosophy. Pizza Dog 199, appreciate you. Jay White versus MJF, 5.5 stars. Oh, hold on. 6 star 199, appreciate you. League Blue, no matter who.
We're the real runs, brother.
We're the real runs.
The Jizzle 199, appreciate you as always. Mercedes versus Bailey 1-on-1 at Mania is a Triple H match.
I feel like if Mercedes came, she'd like maybe team with Bailey to fight like the Kabuki Warriors or something. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
Push $2, appreciate it. Does Monet go back to WWE as Sasha?
I would assume
100%.
So.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna WWE ain't gonna try and like.
It would be beast if she pulled that off, though.
Yeah, it would be beast for her, but I just it'd be a beast move from her, But like, yeah.
Is there an example of a person that left? Is there an example of someone that left WWE, made a name for themselves outside, and when they came back, they used their new name? I feel like that happened maybe one.
It must be. Yeah, I can't think of one though.
Nick Aldis
didn't do it for Drew.
Say it again.
Didn't do it for Drew.
No.
He went straight back to McIntyre.
There's someone. I swear, there's an example.
Yeah, I was saying, Joe, I feel like someone did it, but I can't remember. I don't know. Someone in the chat should probably get on that.
Kevin Nash. Yep.
Okay, that's a good. That's a great one.
Will Chisholm, $5, appreciate it. It would be nasty if WWE gets Mercedes back and get Julia. It would be crazy, bro. I tweeted it when I think it was like when the first WWE Junior reports coming out, and I was like, it was crazy that like when Mercedes first left WWE, the first matches, the top of my list matches I wanted to see was the Jay Cargill experiment, just to see what Mercedes would do with that. Then Julia as well, and it's crazy that it is actually looking like we're going into 2024, where the most realistic place that can probably happen is WWE.
Who do you guys think Jake should work at Mania?
I don't know. This is very difficult. I was trying to figure this out the other day because I think the matches are. So I think Becky's working Rhea. Yeah,
that's the thing. So it's like, do you?
Okay, she's not working Rhea because I'd prefer to see her work Rhea, but if she's not working Rhea, then Becky.
The thing is, because I think Nia Jax is a natural match for her. I don't know if I do that at Mania. I think I do that as like something to get her over on like a TV or a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't know. And Charlotte feels like she's working Bianca. Like she's covered that whole, And then Io is probably going to be with something with Bailey. I think the Kabuki Warriors are going to tag against whoever they choose to tag them with. So that takes all of those players out of the
Alexa Bliss.
Ew. Fuck off.
It's just a vehicle for Alexa's comeback.
Is there any other big person? You can't do Raquel. She's not a big enough star.
They're trying though.
They are trying, and I'll tell you what, her match with Nia rocked. But yeah, I don't know. Unless Bianca bites the bullet and she doesn't do the Charlotte match at Mania.
Oh man, Charlotte always gets what she wants, though, doesn't she?
She does.
Half €2. Appreciate it. Can't wait till TK quadruples all in ticket prices.
He better not. I've decided I'm going, so he better not.
Good for you, John.
Cheers, mate.
Hush $5, appreciate it. Rumble makes more sense for Punk. They used up all the legends. Returns need a grand return for Rumble. Punk is right there. Same with AJ Lee. An AJ Lee Rumble return would be like really cool, but I don't think
the match
that's
for Jade, fellas.
Light it up, light it up, light it up, light it up.
All-time fame right there, bro.
Oh boy.
Michelle McCool.
Mercedes Jade at Mania would be sick, but I don't
Melina.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, we love Melina. Hush
$2.
Absolutely. Hush $2, appreciate it. Copium me thinks Carlito can tap into his 05 bag.
Yeah, keep coping there. He's too big for his own good. I saw him moving against Bobby Lashley. Like he's about like 35 to 40 pounds overweight, and it's all in muscle. And like he's moving like a guy who doesn't know. Yeah, he's moving like a guy who doesn't know how to move and all that muscle, and he's like awkwardly kind of just moving his body around, and I'm like, fuck, Carlito, drop this dude.
He also looked like he was on the verge of blowing up. You know,
It sounds awesome. I need to watch this match,
bro. He's humongous. He looks like
he needs a Hasbro figure based on
bro. He is so he's like the size of Bobby Lashley, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
what a legend.
He's in the ropes, and you see him like clutching his chest after and shit. And I'm like, dude, Carlito, God,
the Warlord.
Why are you so big?
The Warlord. Annie Rudd, 100 rupees, appreciate you. What's the ceiling of Gabe Kidd, Kiyomiya, and Finlay? Should the big two target them, and where should they go? Which talent in Japan should AEW and W? That's a lot of questions for 100 rupees, brother. It's always you and you, Rudd. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Gabe Kidd is awesome. Finlay is not. Kiyomiya has got a very high ceiling.
Yeah.
Gabe Kidd would benefit from having a run on top in Japan before going to either of those two companies.
Absolutely agreed.
Finley's a mid-card guy, I think, regardless, so whatever. Kiyomiya is probably the guy you look... If you want a Japanese talent to bring to the States to build around, he's probably the guy, as Monty and I have discussed before. It'd be better probably for the business if that doesn't happen immediately. I think it'd be better for him too if he has a little more time first, personally. But I love Gabe Kidd. He's terrific. Love watching that guy wrestle. Yeah,
I'd like to see him come into his own as a main event Gaijin heel in New Japan. I think he's on the path towards that, but he's not there yet at all. It's going to take some more time. He needs reps in the main event spot as a big guy, as a big draw. So I'd like to see him remain in New Japan for a couple more years and kind of grow into that role. And with the other two guys, I second what Joe said. If I'm WWE, obviously, you target a guy like Kaito Kiyomiya in the same way that you're trying to use Dragon Lee for comparison to Bandito when it comes to like how you handle these types of wrestlers. I would absolutely do the same thing with Kiyomiya versus like a Takeshita and try to prove a point if I'm WWE. But yeah, I agree with where Joe stood with all that.
Well, choosing $5, appreciate it as always. This damage control stuff feels like what Triple H wanted to do before Vince got in the weeds. Outside of Corey coming, it feels like he had a plan.
They did tease the EO Bailey dissension and EO being the real crown jewel of the group thing since Backlash, to be fair. So there might be something to that. A lot of his stuff.
There's also other like little kind of tells as well, like very even early in the group, like even like the way it was presented when she wrestled. You remember when she wrestled Bianca? It was like a first match on Raw or something. It was like they kind of it was a super competitive match, you know, and it was
Mhm.
like, you know, Bianca was the world champion at the time, and Bailey was trying to go after her, but like they kind of put her on level with Bianca in that moment as well. So there's been like loads of little tales, and it's been ramped up a lot more ever since Backlash, as it was said.
Mhm.
Pizza Dog is asking how your ankle is.
Not great. Give it a couple days. Slightly swollen, a bit tender, kind of stiff. It cracks when I try to like flick my foot up and down, and my lateral movement is awful. But I got to work tonight.
Will Chisholm, $10, appreciate you as always. It feels like Triple H didn't care about Alexa Bliss or Carmella. I feel like their spot is not safe with who he likes, and their fans are going to be mad.
Aren't they
Nah,
pregnant?
Yeah,
they could.
guys, like they're both, bro.
Nah,
Like,
bro.
I thought Alexa was honestly used more for Triple H than she was for the last like stretch of her time on
yeah, and then you
WWE.
Yeah,
got
no, they'll be fine, Monty, because Raw's a 3 hour show, and if you notice, they've broken the women's division up into 3 sections, like Becky versus catering, Rhea Ripley, and the muscle girls, and then there's like the tag division, which is just can you do TV and be cute and entertaining, and that Chelsea Green section,
That's the thing.
so
They can talk, man. When you can
yeah, and they
talk,
can talk, so
yeah.
they will find a spot on TV because Hunter is always looking for people that can buy him a couple minutes on television.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Walker, £5. Appreciate you. Deanna Perrazzo's contract up on December 31st. What do you think she'll do with Brit off TV because she debuted with Brit in January? Where do you think Camille will go to?
I think
Deanna
AEW.
Perrazzo. Do you
Yeah,
really?
I do. Yeah, I've thought it for a
I
while.
think every time. I think every. Is it because of the Brit thing, or do
No,
you
I just
think?
generally think it's kind of a natural step for her. I think she's been terrific in Impact, and I could see her wanting to be around for the TNA rebrand. But at the same time, it's like she's been there now for
I think
a
every
really strong
time.
run.
Every
Hmm.
single time there's come an opportunity for AEW to sign one of these very talented women who have become free agents or have gone to Impact and renewed with Impact or whatever the fuck, you know, and it's not someone who fucking immediately jumps off the page like a Mercedes Moné, you know, they haven't signed them, bro. So I'm not really
Yeah.
filled with much confidence that Deanna Purrazzo will be the one where they kind of now we're going to start signing these people now. You know, we're not going to sign Trinity. We're not going to sign Jordan Grace. We're not going to sign
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z wrestlers, but we're going to sign Deanna Purrazzo. I think if you base it off her being so close to Brit and Brit having Tony Khan's ear, then maybe you can talk me into it. But outside of that, I'm not. I don't have much. I think she probably re-signs with Impact, to be honest. Which is, I'd like to see her come into AEW and come into AEW and make an impact, you know. But
She
I'm
doesn't
not
strike me as
particularly
a name that would
confident in
go
it.
to go to WWE because of her last runs. That's why I kind of lean. My assumption is that she's probably going to move on, and so then you go, there's to the big two. She doesn't strike me as a WWE sign. She may be right. Chelsea didn't strike me as one necessarily. She went back there and she's doing great. So she may just as well go back there. I think she moves on though. I think there's a role for her playing one of the big two companies, and she's had an incredible run in Impact. But
Definitely
she's
good
done
enough.
she's done everything she can do there at this point.
Yeah, she's definitely good enough. Like the other two names that I mentioned, like Jordan, Trinity. There's been others as well in the fucking 4 years of AEW. Like, trust me.
Yeah.
But you know, is what it is. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I would like to see her there. Like, just because I'm predicting that I don't think she will be doesn't mean I don't want to see it. It's absolutely something I'd like to see. As for Camille, I don't know, man. It's like how many eyes were really on her? Would she be classed as a hot free agent if we're being like, truthful about it? Because
She's a pretty
I
cool
don't think
talent,
she
man.
is. She is an
I don't know.
interesting talent. Maybe a PC
She's
recruit.
she's someone with WWE packaging I think could blow up, to be honest.
She is tall and strong.
She was having good matches as well. Like by the time she was see, look, it gets lost because it's the NWA and who gives a fuck. But if you watch her performance against Layla in the match they had at was it Empower, that show? I think.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember Kylan King and her had a good match. Like she's obviously green and raw, but I think there's something there. Interesting.
Yeah, I could see it in the PC or something. You know, NXT. You know, get a nice little push in there. And then you reevaluate and see if you can really make like a main roster star out of her. You know, definitely an interesting talent though. All right. So I think that wraps us up. Yeah, that's all the super chat. So yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Keep it under 2 hours. Well, we're probably gonna go just over. But yeah, guys, please like the video. been over 200 of you guys in here for most of the stream. Appreciate it, especially these kind of midday streams that we do, not our normal, 6:30 Eastern slot. But these earlier Friday shows, the earlier Tuesday shows, the earlier Wednesday shows. We're doing a lot of these afternoon pods now. And we appreciate you guys for showing up to them, sending the super chats, liking the videos. Those of you who have already subscribed, we appreciate it. So
I'm getting paid for this, right?
Fuck no.
No, you was here from the
you
start.
You brought
you
a really good house. You made it worth our while, Wibby.
Yeah, I mean, I did that tweet. We got us to over 200.
You was here from the start. You're here at the end.
It was a free man booth. You deserve your pay, bro.
I can't. Yeah, I can't. This is.
I'm playing Bruce Pritchard again.
I don't want to, but it's hurting me. I hope the audience can see how much it's hurting me. But...
There's a scene in Spider-Man 1 where the promoter just throws like $80 or whatever at Peter Parker, and he's like, "What the fuck, man?" Monty's looking at the game he made today, and he's like, "All right, you can get like a quarter of this." He's like, "What are you talking? I bought the house, you piece of shit." And he's like, "Yeah, we're not. You weren't on a billboard, brother."
All right. But yeah, please like the video, guys. It does help us as little as it seems to you. But please do leave a comment after the video as well if you think any of our takes absolutely stink or you think they're great. Then let us know. Some of you guys already do that just naturally, but I feel like I don't encourage it enough. So leave your comments, like the video, subscribe. Thanks for the super chats, and most importantly, thanks for watching. And we will be back. What day is it today? It's Friday. So we'll be back tomorrow, I think, with the big head-to-head Twitch watch along. So, keep an eye on the page. Same as always. Peace.